All right, good to see everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Just getting ready to go here. I think everybody will stand up and say our team's in good shape. We love what we did this offseason. Excited for the new year. Yeah, we feel the same way. I guess from our standpoint, we get to go to Hawaii for training camp, so adding that in the mix, which will be good. But on the whole, no, looking forward to the season and keep it simple here. Open it up to, I know you guys have a lot of questions, so I'm happy to answer those.
Kind of the health status going into camp? Is there any issues you guys dealing with?
No, we're in great health. I mean, knock on wood, between now and Tuesday, hopefully, nobody does anything silly. But, no, we're in good shape health-wise. Everybody's healthy, no issues. Obviously you got to monitor different players' ages and experience levels and all that as you go through camp. But we feel good with where we're at.
With everything that transpired over the offseason with additions and maybe stuff that didn't transpire, how close would you say that you got to, your plan A for the offseason?
Well, I think we feel great about the team in the sense of we improved the team. Coming off a season last year where we didn't make the playoffs, even though we won 46 games, we knew we had to get better. And I think we certainly have done that. I think for me, the unknown or the exciting part of the year is we know we're going to have a good team, I believe, but at the same time, we don't know how that's going to be. In terms of we've got a lot of good players, got an opportunity for guys to step up, emerge, all that. So I think how it's all going to play out is uncertain, but I think at its core we've got a good team. And as far as the other stuff goes, and rumored to be in deals and things like that, we're probably as impatient as a franchise as you can be right now, given our time horizon and all that. But there's a fine line between impatience and undisciplined. And I think feel good about the discipline that we held this summer and the roster we built and the growth from within that we're going to have. And so we're in a good spot heading this year. And I know everybody's always looking for big headline breaking news and all that, but I really like this team.
You mentioned the impatience. Do you enter the season already knowing you are probably going to want to make some roster maneuvers at some point, or are you sitting back really wanting a large sample of what this team is?
Yeah, I think we got to see what this team is. It's a really talented team. I think there's a lot of ways we can be good, which is exciting. And, we have a generational talent in Steph Curry. We've got Draymond Green, who's just one of the more unique all-around players in the NBA. And then after that, we've just got a ton of different pieces and depth and youth and experience and just all the things you want in a team. We'll take a look at it. We'll see where we're at. The good news is we've got plenty of ways to get better from the outside. But right now, we're fully behind this team, and we think they're going to have a great year.
As far as Hawaii goes, whose idea was that? Why Hawaii? And when did you guys first decide on doing this?
Well, I did training camp there 20 years ago. And so Raymond Ritter was there, Eric Hausen. The three of us got together and we're like, we need to go back to Hawaii. And so, no, it's kind of been in the works for a few years. I think especially with Steph and Draymond, those guys have always wanted to do it. It's kind of been being on the West Coast, you're accessible to it. It's not an easy trip. It's not cheap, but it'll be a good bonding experience. It'll be a good, guys to get away. You get off that plane, the warm breeze blows in your face, and it's a good place to have training camp and get better. So I'm glad we're doing it. Not sure it's going to be a regular thing, but on the whole, I think we're all pleased to be going.
There's obviously time with the deadline on these rookie extensions for Kuminga and Moody. Where are you, though, right now, and would you be disappointed if you didn't get extensions with both of those done by October 31?
Yeah, we're working through that with them and the representation right now. We've got a few more weeks, good positive conversations without getting into too much detail. I think regardless of whether we get something done or not, we want those guys here. Just because you don't get an extension done doesn't mean they're not going to be here for a long time. We'll still have their rights in free agency if we can't come to an agreement by the 21st. And I think for them, the most important thing is, we'll get through these next few weeks with a deal or not a deal, but all that matters is they have great seasons and whether they sign an extension or not. So I think we're all operating in the same, that same thought process, and, we'll see how it goes.
With Jordan, it was the last one you had a decision on, and he obviously had played more. He'd started a bunch of games. Is there a little lack of clarity even with both Kuminga and Moody, maybe that than you've had with Jordan? Or obviously there's been some previous players who have re-upped pretty quickly or relatively easily.
Yeah, fair question. I think the last time around with Jordan, coming off an NBA championship, I think probably your mindset and your feelings about things are maybe skewed in some ways, but in the sense of Moses and JK, we feel good about those guys. Like, they've been here. We know what's under the hood. We know those guys well. So, yeah, we want to, the jump you usually take from your third year to the fourth year, we want to sort of see what that is. But I don't think we have to see what it is in order to get a deal done.
When it comes to the improvements you're seeing with the team, could you share a little bit more about that? What do the analytics tell you? What's on paper for you? And what is also just feel for this roster?
Yeah, I think the biggest areas that we need to improve, we got to get back to defending at a high level. We got to be in the top 5, 6, 7 in the league in defense at least. That's really been the recipe here all along. You talk about the championship years, certainly back to 22, I think we were second in the league in defense. We got up to a good start. We defended. So I think we look at this roster, I go down the list. Everybody, I think, can guard their position. I think guys can guard multiple positions. I don't see a lot of holes defensively in one-on-one individual matchups, which is a good place to start. And then from there, I think, Steve will probably touch on it more too, but we got to be better in transition, both ways. But really, offensively, we want to improve our offense. But one of the ways to do that is just to get out, run more. But when we do, we've got to be efficient in finishing and scoring, getting fouled, whatever it is. We've been pretty poor the last couple of years, and not only the volume we've gotten out and ran, but also how effective we've done it. So those are the two areas I think we'd like to hone in on, and I know Steve can dive into that more.
Who do you see as this team's number 2 scorer?
Well, I think the positive of that is it's a little bit unknown, and so going out every night, and if you're an opponent and you say, who do we got to stop besides Steph Curry, the good news is maybe they don't know either. But I think for us, whether it's Wiggs, whether it's JK, Brandon can score the ball. I think we got a lot of ways to do it. And some nights it's going to be different guys. But as I alluded to earlier, I think a little bit of the uncertainty and the unknown is exciting in the sense that we got some things to find out.
So as you go into training camp, what is the floor and the ceiling for this team as you see it?
Great question. I think it probably leads into the fact that the West is so deep. The league itself is so deep. You're probably talking 13, 14 teams in every conference that think they can be in the play-in or playoffs. So it's hard to predict sort of floor and ceiling off that stuff. Obviously taking injury out of it, I think this team can be really good. Hard to put a number on how good we can be. Also hard to say how bad. Look, in 21 we came out. I would never have thought we would have won 15 games. I know it was a lockout year, but you just don't know. Stuff happens. So it's probably a wide range of outcomes. But if things don't go well, the good news is we've got a deep team. We've got other ways to pivot, and we've got optionality.
Yeah, just what's your sense of where Andrew Wiggins is at, entering this year? Obviously kind of a big season for him, and I know obviously he had a personal tragedy recently. Just what's your sense on where he's at?
I think he's highly motivated coming off of last year. I think he'd be the first to admit didn't have his best season, and we've been in the gym all summer. Can just sense a little bit different vibe from him this time of year. His body looks great. He's in good shape, ready to go. And yeah, he's been through a lot personally, but as far as the basketball part of it, I think he's in a good spot, and we're optimistic he's gonna have a great season.
One of the reasons that you guys finished where you did last year was Draymond's availability during the season. Have you seen him taking strides this offseason to maybe give you confidence that that won't be an issue this year?
Yeah, I think he's taken strides since last season, the incidents that occurred to remedy that. And so I don't have any doubt or hesitation as far as Draymond being available for those reasons. Certainly other stuff comes up. There's injuries, things like that. He's not getting any younger, but he's in a good mindset. He's in a good place physically, and he's a leader of our team, and we'll be relying on him a lot. And at the same time, I think there's a reasonable expectation to take some load off of him with some of the guys we've signed this offseason with the depth we have. Hopefully we're not putting too much on his plate. It's a long season, and all these guys, you go through a lot. But I think from Draymond's standpoint, having the depth to be able to afford, if he's playing less minutes one night or missing a game or whatever, I think we can withstand that.
I don't think we've talked to you since Steph did sign the one-year extension. I'm sure there's furious negotiations going on with that one. Just how comforting is it to know that he did want to go another year, that he does believe in what he's seeing? Were there conversations about that? Just where was the way that all worked?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you have an opportunity to sign extend Steph Curry and have him here longer with our organization, it's a no-brainer. And so we've done that, and I think it comes with an agreement that we'll continue to push the envelope and try and win at the highest level. And, honestly, that's probably not going to change whether Steph's here or not. That's just the makeup of Joe and our ownership group and the entire organization. So, he's probably he is the greatest, call it face of the franchise, really in all of sports. And so to have him here and, you saw what he did in Paris, you've seen what he did at different moments in this building. I think for all of us to appreciate it, come out, view it, watch it, enjoy it, because you don't know how long these things last, but we're thrilled and excited to have him here for at least 3 more years.
Mike, you mentioned just depth and optionality and all of those things. A lot of that, do you feel you guys, though, need to have a little bit more of an urgency? Sometimes those things have a tendency to take time through a season to figure out. Do you feel you need to have more urgency to win games early in the year to not find yourself in a position where it's, say, March, and then you're scrambling to get in the play-in tournament or avoid a play-in tournament?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, make no mistake about it. We want to get off to a good start. Do we have some things to figure out in terms of lineups and roles and all that? Sure. But coming out of the gates, we got to come out good. That worked really well for us in 22. And you just don't want to get behind the 8 ball, especially in this league with the depth and giving other teams confidence and all that. So getting off to a good start is a really, really high priority for us.
What's it like to not be in an apron? I guess you edged back into the tax by a little bit, but do you feel a little different knowing that you're not as stuck as you've been maybe last few years?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall we do. I mean, when I look at the payroll spend and our revenue and all that, we feel better about that. That's good. We do have this first apron, though, that is a little bit inhibitive in terms of our roster spot. So I don't want to say we're clean and free. It does impact us a little bit still. So these new rules we're all kind of getting used to and adjusted to. It's nice not to be super deep in the tax and just out of control.
How flexible do you feel to make an in-season trade? And I guess the apron that you talked about, how much of an inhibit do you feel that will be? And then, do you plan to be aggressive?
Yeah, I mean, that's the deal here. You're always looking to get better, improve your team. I think we've got a lot of ways to do that. We've got a lot of good basketball players, and then on top of it, we got most of our assets. So we got ways to improve. We'll be aggressive. That's kind of always been the deal here, at least as long as I've been here. So does that mean we're definitely going to do something? No. I mean, we were super aggressive last year around the deadline, didn't do a whole lot. So you got to have a partner. Making deals in this league can be tough, but the effort, the urgency will always be there.
So there's the narrative out there that you guys need to do everything possible to maximize Steph's remaining years to play for championships. How much conversation do you have had to have with him to sort of share the vision of what you're trying to do and make him and everybody comfortable with the idea that you're actually trying to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of dialogue about it. I mean, we unequivocally are trying to, maximize, his greatness, Draymond's greatness, and all the resources that we have. So those conversations are really positive, productive. They know the drill, and we'll keep pursuing that. But as I said before, there's a level of discipline that you have to have, and not gonna. There's no point in going all in to be, slightly above average. When you go all in, you got to feel like you're all in. So that's how we'll kind of judge and evaluate things, and we'll see what's there.
So I guess that's the part I should have said is with the reality of the cap and a lot of the new rules, there's what you'd like to do and then what you're able to do in a sensible way. How much do you have to get into the details, or have you gotten into the details to explain that to Steph or anybody else who wants to know exactly how hard are you going?
Yeah, I don't think any of the decisions lately have been related to being inhibited by spend or cap or apron or any of that stuff. So fortunately, it's not a lot of salary cap mechanics discussion with those guys. It's just straight up, does this player or players make us better if we're losing these players, and what does this do with our assets and all that? So they're good conversations in the sense they're mostly about basketball and improving our team. I don't have to cover too much on limitations as it relates to Joe won't spend this amount of money, because I've never heard him say that.
Could you, just really quick, could you walk us through the decision-making process with signing Plowden to a two-way deal and then waiving him?
Yeah, he was part of our program this summer, Summer League. Really liked what we saw out of him. Our G League scouted him pretty well throughout the prior couple of years, knew him in college, brought him in, had a really good Summer League, and was part of our player development program this offseason. And when it came time to figure out a roster spot, whether it was a two-way or a full 15-man roster spot for Quentin, we came up a little short and had to make room for that, and he was the guy we decided to waive. Doesn't mean there's a possibility that we wouldn't bring him back along those terms or something, but right now, because you're only allowed to have 3 two-ways, we had to make a decision.
Just in terms of the player development, how pleased are you with the way the young guys came along this summer so far from what you've seen?
Well, we like what they've done. We like the commitment they made, and then obviously you got to see how it translates on the court. So, ask me in a few months or a couple of years, but on the whole, I think the effort's been there. The organization's been great. Through pre-draft, summer league, up and through. We do a lot of stuff here in August and September, and it's been really well run. Our player development crew's done a great job, and I think that's one of the main things that leads to long-term sustainability, which is what we're looking for. But I think hopefully you'll have some young players that are going to be out there this year that have taken some big jumps and can really impact winning.
Sorry, one more if that's okay. Jonathan Kuminga looks different physically, just via pictures that he's posted online. Have you seen him? Have you seen some of those gains, and how do you feel like he's coming into camp?
Maybe it's the hair, or
That too.
JK is a guy that puts a lot of time in, loves the game, and really, really works at it. So no surprise to see him showing up in September, ready for camp, ready to go, and all that. That's probably one of the last things you worry about with a guy like that is just his commitment to the game. I think we'll see as it plays out with our roster and our team, but his progress over the first few years of his career has been terrific. We're really pleased with that. Last year he had a really nice jump, and if he can take another one this year, it'll be great. So we're pleased with his growth, his progress, and happy to see and excited to see what he can do this year.